Welcome everyone. This is our Sprint 9 review. Again, the goals of the review is to show you the work that we've completed and even inform you of work not completed. And we want you, the stakeholders, to be able to provide feedback. And of course, we want to celebrate and thank everyone for all the hard work that goes into a sprint. I'd like to remind you questions after the demo as time permits. And we would like to document the questions just to make sure that we can forward those to John and Steve. They're the product owners, which is an important role in a project, especially one this size. And they filter everything and gather those requirements and prioritize them for us so that we're working on the most valuable uh, pieces of the project for you to deliver the best product possible as soon as possible. And also, I'd like to ask you all, if you're not speaking, to please mute, and that'll help this go much smoother. Thank you. Um, just really quick, this completes week 24 of what's going to probably end up being a 32-week project. And um, really quick, we've made a lot of progress. We've been doing this for a while now, and just wanted to go through the phase one review. I'm not going to read every one of these, but we started very basic, just from getting into the standpoint of building the most simple form of a Drupal site and creating content, adding user roles, adding just a basic page and showing some of the available fields and things you would have as far as available to you as far as page layout, things like that. Even creating calendars, setting up the navigation, pieces like that. And then also on the content layout, just on the presentation layer, how you go about styling some of the elements of a page and setting up the base theme, and just even as simple as the mandatory header and footer that you guys will have as part of the university's branding. And then really quick into content migration. We imported some of the grad school data. We've now imported some of the CBS data as well for that site, and then other simple pieces, um, just Google Analytics, setting that up for your site so it help you track your traffic and things like that. Going through the approved modules, which is very important, and even setting up a portal RSS feed and getting your site search appliance set up through Google. Moving past the base installation, or building onto the base installation, we started on a groups install profile, and that's allowing you to create one site with multiple subgroups. And the example there would be a college site with each department having its own group. So that's been basically, this is Sprint 9, so going back through Sprint 6, 7, and 8, we've been there. Some of that work included single site emergency, and I would like to remind someone to please mute their microphone. Editing nodes, scheduling content, styling, um, just curation of news, pieces like that. Also going through some of the site-wide social icons, getting that set up and in place, and then even installing the group profile and then the group header. And we also demonstrated some of the pieces for a color module integration that would allow you to pick and choose colors. And even in the last sprint, we got into the organic groups piece where we were going through some of the permissions and how you would go through and set up some of the content types for the CBS site and migrating some of that CBS data. So it's been a lot of work, and for this sprint, this was a 3-week sprint, which was a week longer than what we generally do, but we had a really big push going toward a March 1 deadline to get the base install and the groups install profile in a stable place so that so the OIT group could start looking at early adopters and making some plans to get people migrated onto the platform. So here we are to demonstrate what we've completed in Sprint 9. It was a big effort. And Ryan, if you're ready, I'll go ahead and turn this over to you so you can start showing us some of the work that was performed.
Absolutely, ready when you are.
Okay. Okay. You should be the presenter now, Ryan.
Excellent. All right.
I see your screen.
Can everyone see landing page one?
Yes.
Extraordinary. So hello everyone, welcome to the actual demo part of this. So as you can see, what we're on right now is a page that I have created called Landing Page 1. I want to start by going over a couple of the aesthetic fixes that we have made. First, as I'm sure you can see at the top, there's now the white bar with the campus list. At the time being, this is coded into the actual HTML template file, so what that means is that it will be very, very difficult for a normal user to alter. This was done on purpose because this was felt to be part of the mandatory header. If it's required or desired that we move it to make it a little bit easier to edit, that's something we can certainly look into. Additionally, the footer is now on by default and has been relocated to be in the correct position on the inside of the white area. Another bit of feedback that we got was that the responsiveness on the mandatory header and footer were not functioning quite correctly, and I would like to show you that that is now working correctly. So as we get smaller, so too does the header and footer. Additionally, there was some feedback that we received that the hero image here at the top was not quite being responsively correct either. That also has been addressed. Additionally, as you can see, the top level menu items are there correctly and now appear by default as well. The other default that we were requested to change was that the search should default to the UMN. So I'm just going to search for test. And as you can see, I go straight to the University of Minnesota search area. The page caching defaults have also been taken care of and have been set to cache pages. And I'd like to just take a moment and show you where to do that. So if you desire to do that on your own or to adjust those settings, you can. So I've opened up a new tab that is configuration. And if you look on the right-hand side and you scroll down, you'll see a link performance. And right now, as part of the setting up of this site, I temporarily turned it off. But on a fresh install, you will see that these boxes are checked. Pages are cached for anonymous users. And if you need to clear the cache at any point, here is also where you would do that. So another bit of feedback that we got was that there was an Ajax bug related to adding panes to pages. Additionally, that there was a bug related to adding panes to pages where you would get 2 panes instead of 1. That has also been fixed by our own Steve Hirsch. And I'd like to demonstrate that that is working correctly now. So we'll just call this title. And just paste in some lorem ipsum that I happen to have handy. And as you can see, there is only 1 pane this time, and there are no errors. Another major part of this and the previous has been migration, and so we'll flip over to that next. So to get to migration, again, you go to Content. Then at the top, there's a link Migrate. So as you can see here, I've already taken care of the user migration. That was something we'd already demonstrated, and I didn't feel needed to be demoed again. But it is worth noting here that the user migration is a prerequisite to all other migrations. The reason being that when you migrate the other items, it migrates the person who created them, and if that user doesn't exist, then it can't assign that person as the author. So if you attempt to migrate without having done that, it'll kick out an error, it'll let you know what's wrong, and it will help you correct it. So the first thing that we're going to migrate is we're only going to migrate 50 files. Migrating all 12,000 does take a little bit of time, much quicker than doing it by hand, I promise. But it does take a little bit of time, so we're only going to migrate 50. So I'm just going to set that limit to 50. And there were 50 created, 0 updated, 0 failed, and 0 ignored. That system's working perfectly. The private file migration works in essentially the same way. So we're going to also demonstrate migrating blocks. And I'm just going to go ahead and import all of those. And we have 106 flawless imports. Finally, I'll migrate in the contacts. And I'll just go ahead and do all of those as well. This is going to take just a second because there are 770 nodes. We may actually get to see the batch processing in action, but I don't think so. Should only take a moment further. While we're waiting on this, I'll take a moment to go over some of the other things that we have did, but I will not be demoing right now. For example, things like there's an option for theme builders that, there it goes. There's an option for theme builders that will basically clear the cache on every page load. It'll rebuild the entire theme registry. This is very, very useful if you are building the theme from scratch, but it will absolutely stress your servers to the breaking point if you leave it on by mistake. And so we've gone ahead and turned that off on the default. All right, so now our contact nodes have finished importing. And if we were to go to content, which I have opened in a new tab, the faculty and staff has been imported correctly. So the final bit of feedback that we got was that the Superfish menus were not working exactly correctly. And so I will go ahead and demonstrate that, as well as how to change it out should you wish to. So let's go back to the home, which has no content on it right now. So let's go to my landing page. Here we go. So as you can see right now, we have the default menu, which only shows the very top level links here. And let's just go ahead and change that out. So to change that, we'll go to Structure, Panels, and we'll edit the default site template because that's where all of the defaults live, things that are outside of the Panoply system. And so to change that, we will go to Content. As you can see right now in the main menu region, there is a level 1 menu block. Now, just to do it, I will leave that on to show you what happens if you leave it on inadvertently. So we'll go to Add Content, Blocks, because the Superfish menu is a block. We'll add it, and I don't really feel like it needs a main menu title, so we'll just click Override and leave that blank. All right, now it's in there. It'll be underneath our level 1 menu block, which is fine. So let's update and save. All right, everything's saved correctly, so now we can go revisit our landing page. And as you can see, this is what happens when you forget to apply a style plugin to it. Everything works, it just doesn't look quite right. So why don't we go fix that? Just going to go back a couple times rather than going back through the menu. So let's change the style, and we'll set that to primary navigation for Superfish. Another bit of feedback we got was that there was a bug related to changing the menu styles, which we have also dealt with. There we go. That's been updated. So we'll update and save again. There we go. Go back to the landing page. Now, as you can see, there's two menus, and this one correctly has drop-downs. So the other things that I mentioned that I wanted to talk about without explicitly demonstrating, the first was the theme builder option. The second was that there was a lot of, I'm not going to list them all, PHP notices, things that were not explicitly causing bugs, but were kicking out notices that were kind of painful to look at, and we've dealt with the vast majority of those. Additionally, the session lifetime has now been set to 9 hours. So after 9 hours, a person will have to log in again, but they won't have to log in again until 9 hours is up. The feature reverting module has been integrated into the repository, so now as we update features or as OIT updates features, they can cause rebuilds of features to actually get those changes out there to people using the system. The workbench workflow now allows the ignoring of certain content types. The contributor role bug has been fixed and they can add general content again correctly. Migrate D to D, which is a helper module if you're migrating from one Drupal site to another, that has been moved into the primary repo and has been made available to all sites. We left it off by default since most people won't need it, but those who want it will have easy access to it. Non-Shibboleth users can log in with a local account, and the CBS style guides have been thoroughly reviewed, and some work on that has started that we've discussed in Scrum. And a huge thank you to all involved in that process. Everyone has been very helpful, and we appreciate all of the hard work and all of the feedback in getting things up and running And that concludes everything that I wanted to show right now. Was there any questions?
Did you get Shibboleth working during this sprint?
Yes, we did. Shibboleth is working correctly. That has been tested quite thoroughly. I didn't demo it today only because the metadata changed, and we didn't want to try and get that into the servers on the university's end just before the demo. But that is working.
We are proud to announce.
Yes, we are extremely pleased to announce that. I tested and QA'd that and merged that myself. Were there any other questions? All right, Tom, whenever you are ready, you can snag it back.
Okay.
So we're experiencing networking problems here, but I do have a question. Has all of this been tested on the Acquia environment, or has this all just been tested on your local environments?
I believe the majority of this has been tested on the Acquia environments. I don't have a list in front of me to be absolutely certain, but I believe that to be true.
We're in the process of setting up the CBS site specifically on an Acquia environment. So as a process of that, we're doing some additional testing there.
Were there any other questions? Okay. We just wanted to quickly show you some of the work that was completed, but not in the demo. As you can see, there's quite a bit of these are all ticket numbers from our system that we use internally, and just to give you some idea of how much work actually went into the sprint and just this supporting foundational type work. Many of these tickets take 2 to 4 hours, and some can go to 8, 10, or 12 hours. For the amount of work that it takes to actually complete a ticket, just depending on the complexity. So as you can see, just for the base installation alone, there was quite a bit of effort to get everything completed in this sprint and ready for March 1. And then there was just a few tickets actually remaining that were not completed. You can see some notes here for each one, just some things we're still testing on Acquia that related to the question just a moment ago, and then in Panoply we're doing some testing there, and a lot of this work is still in progress, and was very close. It came down to the wire again as far as whether or not we would actually complete everything, but we have some things that are in QA process, and then of course that we were still working on a training document that would probably go into the next training session, which I think we're going to schedule for the week of March 10, if I'm not mistaken. Going forward, after the demo, as always, please, add or update any user stories on the UMN side. I know, John, you're really good about that. And again, for any bugs that you find, just put a QA in the title of the story. And as far as next steps, just so everyone is aware, Palantir will be working internally next week as a company. We take a week every year, and we focus on professional development, whether it be Drupal training or helping some of us be better project managers, and just making Palantir a better place for our employees and making us better so that we can serve our customers. So we'll be doing that next week. We will be available to some degree, but not the full capacity that we typically are. And so we'll resume this the week of March 10th, and obviously we'll be doing sprint planning that Monday, and then hopefully another sprint review will be on the 24th. At that point, we're going to be focusing on finishing up the CBS site, and we'll be also starting off the Rochester pilot site as well. So I know they're doing some design work there, and we're excited about that, and we'll be getting them migrated onto the platform, and of course, knowledge transfer, which is part of the training I was mentioning, that'll be going on as well. Like I say, at the end of all of these, we'd like to thank everyone at UMN, and especially these folks here, John and Steve. The product owner role is very important on a project like this, and they've filled that role beyond expectation, and they put a lot of time and effort into this. So we really appreciate everything that they're doing, and just some of the other folks at UMN that I don't know if you guys know them or not, but Ryan DeBaker and Christina and Jim and David, all those guys, um, really helping us a lot. And then all the pilot site owners, the people who were brave enough to volunteer to go first, uh, Molly and Miranda, and as I mentioned Rochester a moment ago, Linda and Karna. Um, you guys are coming up next, and it's a lot of hard work, and it's takes some courage to go first like that, and they've all taken it on and really provided a lot of great feedback that I think is going to make things easier on the rest of the university as a whole as we move forward. So really a big thanks to those guys, and if you see them around campus, please be sure to tell them thank you because they have really put in a lot of hard work for this. And with that, I think we're done unless anyone has any questions. Okay, we are done. Thanks everyone and have a great weekend.